Got about 60 seconds there for you. Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures in Chicago. Oliver, thanks for being on. Anything jump out at you?
Well, I had to quadruple check my quotes this morning, seeing corn and beans in the positive territory, which was nice to see. The first consecutive session that we're seeing green in the last 7. And I think really a lot of the momentum started this morning when we got out above the previous day's highs, which we have not seen in each of the last 7 sessions. So I think that probably spurred some additional short covering. And I really wouldn't be too surprised to see that continue into next week's USDA report. Now, we are kind of at an inflection point for that July corn, 450, 455. That was really where we recently accelerated to the downside. So that was old support and really where we broke down from. The bulls want to see a closeout above here to see another leg of short covering potentially get us back, in the 460s towards 470. Exports for corn, very good this morning, 1.2 million metric tons. That was 46% above last week and 41% above the 4-week average. So although there isn't much of a weather concern here for corn, export and demand still halfway decent, and the same cannot be said for soybeans, unfortunately.
Real quick, 10 seconds. Are you massively bullish, or you just think we can kind of trade higher from here?
I think we can trade higher from here. I think with the balance sheet the way it is and the weather right now, looking at the drought monitor with no major concerns, that rallies are probably meant to be sold, especially for producers who need to protect that bottom line. Remember, they're business owners, not traders.
Yes, exactly right. All right, and they're always long, too. All right, thanks for that. Stay right there. We're going to go away. We need to pay some bills. We're going to go back and talk more. Again, Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures. In Chicago. Oliver, anything jump out of you there?
Well, the cattle market's obviously been taking it on the chin a little bit here as of late. I guess you could say the same for lean hogs, but they've seen some reprieve in today's session. I think the thing that really sticks out to me in the cattle complex is the fact that we do, have a seasonally strong time a year right now, with grilling season really starting to pick up. The cash market hanging in there, but we cannot avoid these negative headlines, which I think is probably keeping some of the would-be buyers at bay. And we saw yesterday afternoon Deborah Birx talk about the potential mistakes the U.S. is making with the bird flu, similar mistakes from the bird flu to COVID, which is scary. They're actually sticking their neck out and even mentioning the two in the same sentence at this point right now. But I think those headlines have been enough to spook the cattle complex here as of late. Hopefully, it sets up for a nice buying opportunity, though. As I had mentioned, this is a seasonally decent time of year for beef.
The World Economic Forum has been trying to do the same thing. They've been trying to equate, or at least draw a line between COVID and bird flu, and it's not working. But they were doing that to try to scare a bunch of these Western countries to hand over their pandemic response to the WHO, so you would lose your sovereignty in how you handled your own sickness in your own country. And it didn't work. Nobody fall. They didn't fall for it this time, but there's some people that think it might be a good idea. But anyway, there's been a lot of that kind of trying to equate the two, which I don't think is working, but I agree with you. Thank you very much for being on, Oliver. Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures, coming to us from Chicago.